there's something that I call, I love talking about prosperity in alignment with universal laws. And there's something I call prosperity disruptors. There are things like worry, fear, doubt, anxiety, resentment. All of those things disrupt our prosperity and they disrupt our creativity.
Hey there, I'm Maida Leon, and my mission is to help creatives like you translate what you love to do into a highly profitable income. I'm a mom of 3 who began as a lettering artist and grew it into a 6-figure business. If I made it possible, so can you. Every week, we'll dive deep into topics like building your confidence, getting comfortable talking about money, and nurturing your passion while juggling life and family. So if you're an ambitious creative who wants to craft the life you love, get cozy, feel at home, and listen to the Confident Creator Show. Kisma is a sought-after guest speaker and teacher across industries. She's a philosopher that has a unique gift for teaching complex universal laws and making them applicable in everyday life and business. The creator of Prosperity Code, CEO of Illumination Academy, and co-host of Illumination Podcast, she is an expert at helping CEOs and entrepreneurs master their life and business through understanding the principles of the spiritual and universal laws. Kisma brings a unique power and groundedness to the spiritual work, and her clients thrive when they discover from her how to remove the beliefs that interrupt their success and awaken an innate wealth consciousness within. So here she is, the woman behind why Maida Leon has a green wallet. Welcome to the show, Kisma Orbovich. I'm so grateful to have you here today.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. I mean, it's so cool to connect with us so far apart geographically and not seeing us. We used to see each other a lot in a group, and it's just so cool to be here.
Yeah, yes. And I'm so grateful to have met you, actually. So I have not known a lot of these things, but now I know them. And it feels like I kind of woken up to something interesting that I have not known that I've been practicing. So if I have been practicing it before, I probably could have improved on it, right? Because I know and I'm very much aware of what I have to do. And
I love it.
It gets even more exciting. So I think the universal laws is something that I got interested in last year. And at first I thought, well, it was just another thing that people kind of are talking about online. But as I go deeper into it, I realized that a lot of what it teaches are really helpful when I was building my business. And it is amazing. And I had no idea the potential that it can bring, especially to artists and creatives. So can you tell us a bit about what the universal laws is about and why you started sharing your knowledge about it?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a loaded question. We could talk for days on it. I think a lot of people start by hearing the law of attraction. There was the movie The Secret, and people talk about law of attraction, and you attract what you're thinking or what you are. And the law of attraction is a great law. It opened the door for many people to start to think, well, wait a minute. I have some power within me in the way that I think and the way that I feel and the way that I speak. Yet the law of attraction is like a subsidiary law. I would refer to that more as the law of vibration. But overarching the universal laws, we can look at one major basic law, which is cause and effect. Every cause will have an effect, and every effect has a cause. And we can look at that in a very big scientific way. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. And it's a little bit lofty. Yet, the universal laws govern the universe. The universe is governed by these laws. Nikola Tesla talked about it. Albert Einstein talked about it. These laws that are intangible. And yet, they are as strong as, I picked up my crystal and dropped it, the law of gravity. We would see that. But things like the law of vibration or the law of forgiveness or the law of gender, we can't feel it. We can't see it. Yet they are this divine operating system that I describe when we work with. It's like the universe is your best friend. And when we work against them, life feels really hard. And I think that's, back to your main question, why did I start studying these? I was tired of life being hard. I didn't want to be, agitated. I knew there was like this missing piece of the puzzle. And then when I saw what it started to do for me and then clients, and I was like, everyone who's interested, I want them to understand at least a bit, because life, it's like magic. It changes right away when you start working with the laws.
Exactly. And I think I've felt that too, because growing up, I have siblings. And I am the only one who have this kind of mindset, the positive mindset. Everyone else is pessimistic. They think about all of the bad things that's happening to them. They feel sorry about themselves. And I'm not like that. I have always known as a kid that I wanted to dream big. I wanted to be bigger than who I am. And then I think it was just a consciousness. I did not understand that it was how it worked before. But I think it was in my consciousness. I didn't want to focus on the bad because I am so focused on the good. So I think that is part of what you said, the cause and effect. And until now, it has been affecting some of my siblings. And I am already working towards who I wanted to be, still working on it. But I have seen that, and it's sad. Well, it's sad that I feel like my siblings have been left in a state that they were still in before. Yeah.
You know what? I'm so glad you brought this up, Mai, because there's something, the journey of life and the journey of seeking this way of living, I call it with more flow or in flow. Sometimes we go through these challenges. It's part of the beauty of the process. I always say to my clients, when you're going through something that's challenging, or when the mindset or the energy hasn't quite shifted, and you stay focused and you keep moving ahead, on the other side of that is something magical. Because every challenge we go through, it builds resiliency, it builds strength. And if we have the courage to say, okay, there's a gift in here, what is it? That gift becomes wisdom. And then for the people around us, the people that we love, the more that we do this work, and I'm really big about staying in our own lane, right? We do the work. Yeah. We're raising our vibration. We're creating a different external reality because our internal world is different. People take notice. And if it is their time, they will start to ask questions. They'll start to emulate. They'll start to follow. And some people, it just isn't their time in this lifetime. But I know that, it comes back to, we're always manifesting, always. And I think that's one of the things that people don't talk about when they talk about manifesting, that it is that cause and effect. Our external world is a mirror for our internal vibration, our internal disposition. Does that make sense? Is that helpful?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And in terms of manifestation, I highly believe in that. Like I said, I was not aware that I was actually doing it. So giving me an awareness of, like, if I was not aware and I was doing it. So imagine what I can do if I am aware.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
And you've seen, you have seen the shifts as you've started to pay attention to what I call the intention and your attention, your focus, your feelings, your attitude. All of this plays a part. And really simply put, and when you look at the science behind it, we are vibrational beings. Everything is moving at a vibrational level. The universe is a vibrational existence. So the vibration that we are running at, the frequency that we're operating at, begins to resonate with those level vibrations and frequencies out in the world. And that's what we start to bring in. You can see this, we haven't really been traveling a lot lately, but once people start getting back to traveling, if they're in airports or even if you're in a restaurant, you'll see a group of people and you'll notice that they're pretty much entrained in the same way. And if someone isn't, they sort of sit outside of the circle. You can tell if someone stands out, if they're not resonating with the rest of the group. It's also, as you know, being an entrepreneur and all of the people, all of your students that you're helping to build these amazing creative businesses, who you spend time with is really important. It's like you'll be drawn up into their vibration when you spend time with people that are successful. I mean, it's why I think your tribe follows you, because they've watched everything that you've done. And you're like this umbrella of energy. And without force, it's a natural uplifting. So our energy, our mindset, our feelings are so precious. And I always say, we have to be responsible for them, because they are what is creating our reality. It's what's shaping our reality.
Yeah, and I think that most likely because creatives, we have these sort of like, we always get stuck with something, especially when we are creating so many projects or when we're building our portfolio so we can get more clients.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we talk to people who are also stuck because we wanted to feel the same way. We wanted to have somebody who we can bounce these energies off to.
Mm-hmm.
And so that becomes a never-ending cycle of getting stuck. And
You're
it
spot
isn't
on.
helpful. Yeah. So how do you get unstuck? What are the tips that you could give to people? How to get them unstuck when you know that they needed to take action, but just cannot get to it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so great. I mean, I remember this, I was a classical flutist for most of my life. I started playing flute when I was 12 and I knew I wanted to be a flutist. And so I understand the creative nature. I understand there's something that happens in the creative arts. It happens with athletes. It happens in a lot of industries, certainly with entrepreneurs too. But we so identify with the quality of our work, right? So if something isn't working, it's like, if we're not careful, we start to turn in on ourselves. And that does bring us down in vibration, does bring us down in frequency. And there's something called the law of mind action, which is what you focus on increases. So when you talk about this world of feeling stuck, of talking about being stuck with other people, that is as if you're just fertilizing a garden of weeds. So one of the most important things to do to really become unstuck energetically, I'm just going to give this to those, and some of your students and listeners might know this, but there's something called cord cutting. And energy is so in alignment with universal laws, right? So cord cutting is cutting cords that do not belong to us. And cords are like these etheric lines of energy. We get them when we think heavy thoughts. We get them when we're talking with someone. People are cording into us all day long. It's energy. Now, when you cut cords, you can never cut the love. But it's the idea is that you give back what isn't yours and you keep what is yours. So in order to cut cords, which is such a big thing to get unstuck because that stuck energy is so thick, it's really based. I like to just ask my guides for some help. So it depends, whatever someone's faith is. You could ask God, you could ask Allah, Jesus, whatever, or just your higher self, not just, but your higher self for help. And then you take your dominant hand and you go cut the cord. There's energy in your hand now, and you throw it into the earth, cover, clap the hands because clapping changes energy. It's why our kindergarten teachers did that. And then cut the cord, throw, clap, cut the cords. I guarantee those listening, if you do this, all of a sudden you'll be like, I can breathe. I feel more like me. I feel more grounded. And you're cutting cords to these heavy thoughts of stuckness. You're cutting cords to the stuck energy. And once that's done, it is easier for you to choose a different way. See, when we get stuck in a swirl of energy, it's difficult to have that pattern interrupt, right? It's difficult to choose something. And that's all we can see. It's just this thing going around and around. You cut the cords. And then what is it that I want to feel like? I always tell my clients, state into universe, spirit, what it is you want to feel like, because that is an instant activation of the law of vibration. So I know that was a lot, but honestly, cord cutting, fastest way to get unstuck, fastest way to let go of negative energy, because it's, you see, if you could see the etheric lines, you would be shocked at how much people cord up to each other and how much of the energy of other people we take on. and it's not ours to keep.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. I was just listening to you and I was absorbing everything. And sometimes people think that what we do, it's just simple. But those simple little gestures actually helps big time.
It's an ancient practice. Your kids will love it. If your kids are crying, cut their cords, make it a little game. They can have like a lightsaber, like Star Wars or whatever. But here's the best way I can explain it. You know, I lived in Hong Kong for 9 years. And when you go out in the morning, it's when I was a musician, the elderly are in the parks and they're practicing Tai Chi and they're moving. And then they have jobs of sweeping the streets. They're in movement. And something like Tai Chi, I mean, they do it naturally, cutting the cords by their movement. And it's an energetic exercise. And I lived in New York for many years. The difference between seeing an elderly woman in New York walking around in her posture, which is going to keep turning in, and hear people say, oh, it's the bones, it's the spine. No, it's the energy. Because in a busy city like that, and over a lifetime, over 6, 7, 8 decades, organically, that woman or man will hunch over to protect their solar plexus, which is right under the ribs. In Hong Kong and many countries of Asia, their posture is incredible because they are practicing these energetic exercises. You know, it's incredible. We just have to look and not judge, but say, okay, there's something here. You know, there really is something here.
Yeah, and I saw that. I lived in Singapore for 8 years.
So you know.
I know. I have seen, they're not all elderly because in Singapore there's a lot of people and we have parks. So you just go down to from your flat and then at the park you will see all of these people.
Yeah.
Elders and mothers most of the time. They are practicing all of these Tai Chi and and I believe I was like observing and what are they doing? I don't know. And so now I know that it was the energy that they are kind of trying to project.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, right?
It is.
Discovering
it really is.
all of these things we have no idea about.
So let's take that into the creatives. You know, creative energy is so strong. It is, I'm sure that most of your listeners, they would agree that when they get sparked in the moment, it just flows. Well, that flow is coming from what I call the universal intelligence space, our intuitive channel. Everything exists in the universal intelligence space. So when you are focused and clean and clear and working with the laws, let's just say, you know, I mentioned the law of mind action. Sometimes it's called the law of praise. What you focus on expands. So this goes in both ways. If you're focusing on, I can't create this project, I'm not getting the idea, that energy grows. When you cut the cords and let go, move over to, I am receptive. You know, you and I were talking about this earlier. I am receptive to receiving the divine guidance or receiving the creativity. Your creative channel, which is in line with your intuitive channel, is going to be sparked. And that's when the ideas come in. There's something that I call, you know, I love talking about prosperity in alignment with universal laws. And there's something I call prosperity disruptors. There are things like worry, fear, doubt, anxiety, resentment. All of those things disrupt our prosperity and they disrupt our creativity.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Thank you for bringing us back into the creative world and how we can apply it to more artists and creatives. Those things that you mentioned about getting unstuck and getting all of those, when we start complaining about not getting work done and then it grows, I think I can relate to that. And how I cut the cord before was, I'm going to stop doing this. I'm going to start cooking or I'm going to start walking. So I try to divert my attention to what is not working. And then I focus on the things where I don't need to start thinking. I don't need to think. I don't need to think how to walk and go to the park. I just do it naturally because we have built neural pathways to do that already. But these things that we overthink about, these are the things that we have most difficulty processing with. And it affects our business. Right? So how do our thoughts and energy affect our business in a way that it gets us either keep going or, sulk and feel bad about what we're doing.
Everything. I always say to my clients and students, all of the systems that we have as entrepreneurs, as creatives, whatever we're building, they're fabulous. But you can have the best systems in the world. And if you're not clean and clear internally, if you can't get to centered awareness, and centered awareness to me is just a really neutral, objective place where you can then be very intentional as to what you're putting out. Wallace D. Wattles, who wrote a great book called The Science of Getting Rich, he talks about the universe as this rich, spiritual, and unlimited substance. And it's referring to the law of supply. Supply is never depleted. We, as spiritual beings having a physical experience, have access to supply. We will never not have access to supply. But the sulking, the doubt, those disruptors, it's like it congests our channel to supply. And so we become doubtful. And then all of a sudden, any limiting beliefs that we've picked up from the past, and then we've created more, take over. So this is where I see human beings, entrepreneurs, creatives go from the possibility of creating an incredible business to being stuck or losing money or just not, or just, it's like they're in quicksand, right? It's the doubt. Doubt starts with a seed, sort of an intellectual seed, worry, you pour emotions onto it, and you're off the track. So there's a beautiful saying that is, we are what we believe ourselves to be. And I think creatives are so sensitive to energy and to heart that it is worthwhile taking time to redesign what you believe about yourself. And sometimes you have to fake it. But that time, I always say we're thinking anyways. And as soon as you think and feel, you're manifesting, you're putting something out there. So if you're thinking anyways, what are you thinking? And why not choose to think something positive, right? To infuse yourself with prosperous thought, to remind yourself that you're this glorious, magnificent being that's created with the same divine energy that creates all of universe. That will get you steady and focused. And then you got to take action. Action is the insignia of life.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's when, like, most of us are stuck into this idea that creatives, the starving artist mentality, that being a creative, being an artist, it's not a full-time job. Like, it's something that doesn't generate income. We have been inundated with all of those thoughts since we were children. Yeah. Our parents would like us to be doctors, lawyers, dentists, nurses. But that's the reason why a lot of us think that we are not capable of making money. And I think now it is slowly changing as more and more creatives are making waves in the industry.
Yes.
And trying to prove to everybody that us creatives can also be profitable business owners. That is really, really going to help you. And giving all of this knowledge about how our thoughts and energy affect our business is going to be so. Creatives who are listening right now, you better listen to it again. I probably will.
Yeah. Well, think about it this way, the worthiness factor. I mean, I remember I had a great job in the Hong Kong Philharmonic, and I remember somebody saying, well, what do you really do? And I was like, what do I really do? I've been practicing since I was 12 years old for this job. That is just, people don't know. You have to give them grace. We must take ownership of what we do. And I've, a client who is a musician. She has a chamber orchestra here in San Diego area. And it was just like working on the belief that she could even raise the money to pay herself differently. I have another student who's this beautiful artist, and it was all about raising her prices and getting her to understand that she is worthy of being paid that. And that's the thing. Remember, everyone, you're bringing beauty and luster to the world. And whatever, format, whatever vein that you are creating. And when people invest, they get more out of it. There's a different feeling when someone buys like I'm all about crystals. I get a little pebble or something, and then I buy like a really beautiful smoky crystal that's expensive, and I'm like, I want that one on my desk. So money is energy, and it's one of the great energies of the planet. And as it goes out, it comes in. And when people invest, they get a reward back that gives them so much more appreciation of whatever aspect of creativity they've invested in. So we have to understand our value. And, I do a lot of deep work in some of my trainings. But to start, you've got to retrain this. I love some very basic prosperity commands. One of them, this is by Dr. Catherine Ponder. She still is alive. She's a great writer on prosperity. Everything and everyone prospers me now, and I prosper everything and everyone. It's such a beautiful prosperity command because it fuels cause and effect. You're prospering someone's prospering you. And just say that on repeat all day long. I changed my life using that one command several years ago.
I will probably write it down and turn it into a tweetable.
Yes. Yeah.
So that everybody could repeat that command so that it can help us a lot. And you mentioned about worthiness. When I started this business, I am a mom. When I was single, I buy everything that I want. When I became a mom, I buy everything for the children. And I think that's the reason why I have the green wallet that I'm showing everybody right now. I have never bought something expensive for myself for over the last 15 years.
Oh, wow.
Since I started getting married, since I got married. So I think the most expensive thing that I bought, no, it's not me who bought it. It was my husband. He gave me a phone. He gave me a phone. I probably will not buy a phone. And I will keep using the old one because that is what I do. I prioritize the children. And it is me not giving myself any worth. And I think a lot of creatives do that to themselves because we think that when we start earning, we have to save a lot. And yes, we do have to save. But I think part of it is what you were saying about investing in yourself as well. So investing in yourself comes in many forms. Buying something for yourself, continue educating yourself so that you can help a lot more people and improving on your skills. Those are good things to start with.
Absolutely. Look, I'm all about prosperous spending. Prosperous spending doesn't mean like all of a sudden you're going out and you're buying the car that's going to be, $157,000 car if you don't have the means to pay the monthly. Yet, I'm a big fan of stretching the wealth container and investing and stepping in. There's something that happens when you appreciate, and this isn't out of attachment. It's a misunderstanding when people say money is the root of all evil. It is the attachment to money that is the root of all evil. It's the attachment to a person in a relationship that will wreck it. The universe is all expansive. It is never depleted, and that includes money. So decide how much money you want. See that number in your mind. Get into, we call it the spirit of it. You need to get into the emotion of the gratitude that it's already here, and then take action. And it sounds so woo. It is actually scientific. I see it work again and again and again. And one of my favorite sayings is to pray for greater capacity of awareness, right? The greater capacity of understanding the law of supply, of understanding how limitless the universe is, because with that energy, you can do anything. So it's time you go shopping, girl. And our children, my daughter is grown, she's 26, and I know we just want our children to be so happy and have everything. They need our love. They need us to take care of ourselves. They also need us to be sparking joy in different ways. And that green wallet, you heard me do this big talk on, if you have a wallet that is the home for your money, and it's old and it's dirty and it's beaten up, why would the universe give you more money? Because it's looking at you like, well, wait a minute, you're not really putting your money in a beautiful place. If you're not taking care of your bank account, why would the universe give you more? So it's understanding how to appreciate money, because then it grows. Just like anything, you appreciate love, you appreciate your spouse and your children, their appreciation comes back.
Yes. And exactly when you mentioned about it is ever expanding, you told me once, the universe will provide because we talked once about how business becomes difficult. So, I also have difficulties with business, just like any business owner out there. And you told me, the universe will provide. And then I remember the time I started this. We are planning to go back to Manila. So we were in Singapore for 8 years. We're planning to go back to Manila. And we talked about my husband staying there for 2 years so that we can continuously support and while I'm growing the business. But then eventually, when I moved home, he stayed there. I moved home with the kids. He was super anxious and he has been stressed about not having, imagine living with your family for 8 years in a foreign land and then they suddenly move away. So he was so stressed. Every day he calls and he's about to cry. And, all of these feelings, I can really feel the intensity and the level of stress that he has been going through. And I'm afraid, so afraid for him at the time. So I computed everything that we need. I basically have a spreadsheet of what is it that we are going to spend on for the next 12 months. And then I was on my way to releasing the Mastering Hand Lettering course before. And then I planned on what are we going to spend on. We have amortization, we have the car, the house, we have living expenses and Alphonse's therapies. I've computed even the therapies, what are we going to pay for the doctors and lab exams, all of those. And then I said, I will need a 6-figure income to make this happen. And then I'll plan for the next years, okay? I just need to get us back home, all of us, so we will live, abundantly within a year. And then the next coming years, I can plan on that. And then I did it. I made it happen.
Of course
I launched a 6-figure course.
I love it.
And that was really an amazing experience. So hearing all of these that you're saying right now, it kind of validated everything that I did before. You can dial it
back, right? I think this is important. I love this story and I love what you did. And we can all dial it back at a time where, I manifested this thing. I did this thing. And you look at where your energy was, you look where your focus was, and really decision. One of the things we talk about is, have you decided to have what you want? Because it really is, it's this internal decision for anybody who's selling paintings or jewelry or something. Have you decided to have that business? Because once you decide, it's like this internal shift. And I always say the universe starts shifting these planes and people globally start responding in ways to feed your manifestation and you as well. So that internal decision, that focus is it's so powerful.
Yeah, I think it was the intention that I need to get to 6 figures so I can bring my husband home. And I did.
Yeah.
And you know what I did after that? I was actually halfway. I had $50,000 in sales. I flew to Singapore. He didn't know about that. I flew to Singapore and then surprised him. He was like, we had a roommate then who I was talking to say, open a door for me so I can be there. And then I FaceTimed him and where were you? I said, here. And he was surprised to see me there. That kind of emotion. I always go back to it when I feel like things are getting difficult because I know that I already did it. So I can do it again. And I always think of what were the basic things that I have done before. I had the intention that I had to bring. I had that strong desire to make it happen. And I think that was very, very powerful.
Desire is a beautiful word. It can be misunderstood. Desire and demand actually are words that we use with the universe and working with the laws. Demand is not from this entitled, but it's like, I'm demanding of the universe what is mine. One of my favorite authors, his name is Vadim Zayland, and he says, place your order with the world, place your order with the universe. And we think, what, we can place an order? Yes. And you place the order and you work on staying consistent with your thoughts, your energy, your attitude, your expectancy. And that desire creates a very strong feeling, and feeling creates a vibration, right? So it is such an important piece. And just to know, when we stop and think, well, wait a minute, everything comes from the same supply. Whether you name it God or universe or spirit or energy or source or universal intelligence base, it all comes from the same supply. It comes through people. So the clearer we are, and the more that we see, okay, this is where I'm going, this is what I want to create, these are the people I want to help, it comes to us faster, and it comes to us with more ease, and we're more aligned. So as the world does kind of throw us loops, which it does, we can handle it because we're very steady.
Yes, I think the world has thrown us so many things over the last 2 years already, and we still don't know when are we going to get, but we are working on it, right?
Yeah.
Little by little, and you see how all of these were developed. So many things have been discovered the last 2 years. So many things have happened.
Yeah.
And we're still here.
We're still here, and it's I love thinking about this whole time, the gifts of COVID, the losses of COVID. I've experienced both, and in such intensity. But it's a time where I feel like Mother Earth, universe, God, whomever is like, everyone, go within, look within. Come on, like it's time. Everyone just do a deep dive and spend some time with your own soul. In the scheme of things, 22 months, 24 months of really going inward, it's not a big chunk of time in our lifetime. And it will bring about so many gifts. We just need the courage, I think, to look at it that way.
Exactly. And if you notice, a lot of things have changed as well. I remember when we went back home in 2019, nobody is on. Not a lot of people are online, selling things online. But look at us now.
I know.
So many business owners have started their business, have grown their business. And in the last 12 months, I was able to help a client make his first 6-figure online, which
that's great.
And then I have another client who is constantly making 5 figures from her brush calligraphy workshop, which is really amazing. All these things that have happened to us have brought us to where we are right now. And it is, I believe it's up to us how to use it.
Absolutely.
Do we use it on a more positive
And what
energy?
I love about how you're describing your client, so everyone, make sure you stay with this woman for a very long time because she knows what she's doing. But these, when you talk about the calligraphy and the brush strokes and painting or watercoloring, this is bringing us back to an innate creativity that people need to get in touch with. Stress is a major, abundance disruptor. And so when people go inward and they create beauty and they take this time, it's incredible. It's like a moving meditation for them, and people need it and they want it. And I think that's something that your students can see and really keep making an impact for others through that.
Yes, because we provide value for other people through our creativity. That's what we have to think about. We don't have to think less about ourselves because other people are making more. We can think more and feel abundant with what we have right now because we still have a lot of things to be thankful for.
Yeah, absolutely. Making an impact for others is always prosperous. It's always prosperous. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Kisma. This is such an amazing conversation. I wish I can keep you for another hour.
It's so great to be here. It's so fun.
Yes. And tell us about your Facebook group because I am in that Facebook group. I have invited a lot of friends in that Facebook group. So tell us about it because I know a lot of people would benefit from it.
Yeah, there is something called the Universal Laws of Abundance, and it is my free Facebook group. It's the place where about every 6 to 8 weeks, I'll also run like a free virtual training or a challenge based on the universal laws or prosperity. We've got a new one coming up in November. Yet the group itself, I'll be dropping in videos and posts and things like that. So it's a really high vibe group. I recommend it. And I think that you have to request access, but I'll be checking and meeting everybody over there.
Yes. And where else? Tell us where everybody can find Kisma online.
Yeah, thanks. Well, Instagram is kind of my go-to place right now. So you would just look for Kisma Awake, Kisma Awake is my handle. And then my partner, Nick, and I have a podcast called illuminationpodcast.com. And it's like ancient wisdom for modern day success. So we would love to have you all tune in there. We had a little break over the summer and we just dropped 3 new episodes, and we'll be doing more. And it's really great. It's sort of a little secret out there, I feel like, but you'll get a lot of great content.
Yes, I love listening to the podcast. You know, Kisma's voice is something that I have admired for a long time since we were in Shrimp Club, and listening to her. So did you know you were the first, your meditation was the first meditation that I listened to. A lot of people have been telling me to meditate, but yours was the first meditation that I listened to. I love listening to your voice.
Oh, thank you. There's quite a few meditations over on my WooTube, right? And YouTube, Kisma Awake. You can find me there and look for, there's some guided meditations and there's some teaching videos there too.
Yeah, I saw the WooTube. I said, wow, that was a cool name.
Yeah, that was from Laura. Laura pegged that one.
Oh, really? The amazing Laura Belgrade. We really learn from the best, right?
I know. She's fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. I just want everyone to know, there is like this just incredible spark of spirit. And it doesn't matter what faith you are. It doesn't matter what gender you are. It doesn't matter it's just in all of us, and we have access to it. And that's what I want people focusing on, because then the prosperity, the abundance, the joy, the happiness is so much easier to attain and to sustain.
Yeah, thank you so much for that one final piece of advice.
Yeah,
and don't worry, everybody, I'm going to link you up to Kisma's Facebook group, her Instagram, her podcast, everything, everywhere where you can find her. And if you didn't catch up on what she all said, they will also be in the show notes. So head over to mydeleon.com/Kisma, where you'll find everything you need. So I hope that you learned a lot from this episode, because I thought I already learned a lot from Kisma, but today I learned even more. So if you also like this episode, leave us a review, because every time you do, you help the podcast get discovered by other creatives who need the inspiration to pursue their own creative dreams. And as always, keep creating and stay confident. Until next time, this is Maya. Thank you so much, Kisma.
Oh, thank you for having me.